You're listening to I Love It When, and I'm your host, Mo. I'm a speaker, coach, and connector. You're in the right place if you're looking for some inspiration and you're ready to truly embrace who you are. My intention with this podcast is to help you see that you are so much more powerful than you realize. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the I Love It When podcast. I'm your host, Mo, and today I'm back with part 2 of my conversation with Tillie Eze. And so I'm not going to give this too much of an introduction. If you haven't listened, go ahead and go back one episode and listen to this first part of the conversation where we talked all about Tillie's journey to where she is today. This second part of the episode is all about astrology. And so just to remind you all, I'm going to read you Tillie's bio, a little bit of information about her. So Tillie is a multi-hyphenate creator that plays in the physical of fixing while mastering herself in the spiritual world through alchemy. A certified practitioner of transformative modalities, Tillie was given the medicine name that translates to Women of Precious Light of Sky. Transmuting her past lives by reliving moments in the present timeline, she currently resides in France, expanding her work through experiential collaborations of the heart and soul, feeding her fervor for all things Venusian, and exploring the zenith points of her natal chart. In this second episode with Tillie, we talk about all things astrology. How can you use astrology in your personal and business life? How can you begin to learn all the different aspects of astrology through the moon cycle? And then Tillie uses my natal chart to just begin to show more of how we can use it. My goal with this episode was really to give you like an ability to kind of dip your toes in, because astrology is something that fascinates me. And the thing that Tillie and I talked a little bit about in this episode is that, we get one message from, like, as the general public, we kind of get this message that astrology is just kind of not real. And that the truth, though, that I'm hearing more and more is that all of these large businesses, these people who have grown on a massive scale, success-wise, all use astrology to help decide when they will launch certain things in their business or their lives, to help make decisions, all of these things. And so whenever I hear something like that, I have to explore it more, right? Because why are we not being told how to utilize our astrology in empowering ways like this? So I hope you enjoy this episode. It's fascinating, and I hope this gives you a little bit of an idea of how you could begin to use your own chart to help you make decisions and maybe confront some things in your life that you've needed to confront. All right, enjoy. Well, let's pivot a little bit and dive into some astrology. Yeah,
Yeah.
for those of you that are listening, I was telling Tillie, like, I've had this desire to know more about astrology, but there's some part of my brain that's just like, um, it hasn't made sense. And it's kind of like we were talking about before we hit record, how when you learn a different language, until you understand the bits and pieces within the language and you start to pick it up, then it starts to make more sense. And that's kind of how I felt
Mhm.
about astrology. Is like I know my basic sun sign, moon sign, rising sign, and I've been following the moon now for a while. Because with human design, I've learned that I was a reflector, and how
Mm.
much I relate to the moon. And so I've started to integrate some of that into my life. But I've really wanted somebody on the podcast to just start us off with learning more about the basics. And so you've kind of shared already why you were led to astrology, but was it something that just easily folded into your life, or like was there a particular reason why you wanted to learn more about it?
I always sort of had like an interest in astrology since I was a
Okay.
kid.
Okay.
And I think more, I guess I never knew the real reason as a child why I was interested in it. But I do remember like sometimes being like, hearing someone's birthday, like, ugh, you're Leo. You know what I mean? It's like, this really like, this like attitude about it. But now that I know there is like, there was more to it. Again, I'm this person that like, I will have an instinctual feeling that I don't know why I have that feeling, but I know the feeling is right. And then
Yeah.
later on, it's like, oh, that's why, you
Yeah.
know? So I didn't really dive into it. Like I would pick it up here and there throughout the years, but I really didn't dive into it until I, after seeing Daniela and like, having this like moment with the moon and being like, what is happening? And then then also seeing how it related in my own chart of like, okay, that's why you're connected to the moon. That's why you feel this way.
Yeah.
And so I actually, I posted, I have like tons of highlights where throughout the years, as the moon cycles were happening, I would post about the moon cycles for like other people, how for them to know how it will be affecting them. And that for me, I find is the easiest way to really learn about or begin to like learn about astrology in a way that actually benefits you.
Okay.
Because I find a lot of times people just like learn details about astrology and they're like, oh, this person's like that. And it's like, but how does it benefit you? Like, how is that serving you right now in this moment to know that, you know, that person being an Aries sun must be going through hell and high water?
Hmm.
You're a Pisces. That means nothing to you. It's like, so why are you so concerned with like the turmoil of another when you should be asking yourself, girl, what's going on behind closed doors, you know? And
Yes.
so how can you do that? And that is really understanding, or one of the simplest ways I find is like understanding the moon cycles that are upcoming
Okay.
and how it affects you and your chart.
Okay. So
Yeah,
by looking at the upcoming moons and thinking about how it affects us, then we can start to kind of look at what's reflecting in our life, what's happening around us with relationships.
exactly.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah, the
cool.
transits. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have your chart up. I don't
Okay.
know.
You can totally
Okay.
share it. I'm open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Totally. Let me see. Um,
I think this will help for those of you that are listening. I hope this will help you begin to see how you could utilize it in your life.
yeah. So you see the chart. Let
Yes.
me see. Did Okay, you don't see the because I have a document with your information on it. You
No,
don't
I
see that.
just see
Okay,
like the little
perfect.
writing
Cool.
that says Mo Smith natal. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So you are a Gemini Sun, Libra rising, um, Sagittarius moon. And so I will actually send you this document because
Okay.
it lists everything out for you. But it's also a document that I have because I basically write out all the moons for the year and what the energy of that moon is going to be, as in like the new and full moon cycle. So I have an idea
Oh, wow.
when I'm writing a post or just like working on it for myself. And so one of the first moons coming up is the full moon in Sagittarius, which is May 31st. And so for you, so the full moon's going is 9 degrees, 55, 9 degrees. So when you look at the degree of what the moon is going to be, that also correlates to an astrological sign.
Hmm.
So from Aries is 1, it ends in Pisces, which is 12, and it starts over again until it hits 30. And so 9 degrees is a Sagittarius degree. So it really is like this absolute embodiment of Sag. It really is talk your stuff. Who's going to check you? It's time to take things to new heights, never before seen, new levels of audacity, and new creations never seen before. The thing about it for you, because your moon is in your third house, the house of how you interact with your siblings, your immediate surroundings, your neighbors, how you process information, your communication style. Imagine that energy sitting upon your third house. So it's like for you, it's going to be focused on the information that comes through. Whereas if it were your first house, it would be about how you're presenting yourself to the world. Like what shift is going to be happening that is going to alter the way people start to receive you and perceive you. And
Hmm.
so it is always easiest to learn the houses, like just learn the energy of each house, and then seeing where what placements of those houses are in your chart. Does that make sense? Or
Yes.
where am I losing you?
Well, it's wild because my brain gets stuck on certain things. And so like I'm looking at the chart right now and seeing how the lines in the middle, the red and blue lines go everywhere.
Right.
And
Okay. So I want
and
y'all to ignore
normally
that.
and normally when I see my natal chart, all of my lines are on the left side of the chart.
Yeah. So I want you to completely ignore that
Okay.
because I want you to look at the bare bones of
Okay.
just like
The very
this is
outside.
your rising, this is your moon, um, this is your son. I
Okay.
want you to just get comfortable with your placements
Okay.
and the house that they live in. These
Okay.
lines, these lines are going to mess everyone up
Okay.
because people are going to be like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Right. That makes absolutely sense. But if you don't really understand how you emotionally respond, how you present yourself,
Mm.
who you are at your core, those are
Okay.
all the planets, how it really is like a way of really understanding who you are as a person.
Okay.
Like, what if you were to tell anyone today, this is who I am, would it be the truth? Or would it be the version that you want people to believe that you are?
Oh,
And that's where
okay.
that's your birth chart. Your birth chart really shows who you are, but it also shows the world. It also shows me, the person that you present to the world. That's the most safe version of you that you
Okay.
feel most comfortable with.
Okay.
And so as these moons happen, it's almost like a confrontation of like, all right,
Mm.
that's how you really feel. Okay, your sibling just said the wildest thing to your mom. Are you going to let it happen, or are you going to like speak up?
Mm-hmm.
And so it always is a battle. I don't want to call it a battle, but it's a continual confrontation of
Mm-hmm.
who you are, who you expect yourself to be, and who you truly are. And each moon gives you an opportunity to really to either create who that person is based off your actions and what you do.
Mm-hmm.
That's the new moon. And then the full moon exposes it to you. It's like, all right, well, 6 months ago during the new moon in Gemini, you did this, 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 and this, and you stood on business. So
Mm-hmm.
now the full moon of Gemini, someone that you don't even know saw what you did and they now want to invest in you, all because
Mm.
of what you started that one new moon,
Wow.
you know?
Yeah.
Or on the flip side of like, everyone saw you what's out. So now this opportunity, of course, didn't come by you because they don't trust you.
Yeah.
So every new moon creates an effect that's going to happen
Okay.
either the fall, one of the following full moons,
Okay. So
you
the full
know?
moon exposes, you said, and the new moon is like when you take
Yeah.
action to confront and do something different than
Yeah.
what you have
To
been
like
doing.
start like just to like almost like I don't want to
Mm.
call it a do-over,
Hmm.
but you're adding something new. You're creating a new habit, you
Okay,
know?
that makes
And
sense.
yeah. And so the full moon is an illumination because you see it in the sky. The
Okay.
new moon, it's in the sky, but it's not, you can't see
It's
it.
not
It's like,
illuminated.
yeah.
Okay. So this full moon in Sagittarius coming up is going to illuminate, um, what's it going to illuminate for me? With
Well, for you, it's going to be almost like, I want to say for you, because the new moon in Gemini is having the uncomfortable necessary conversations, and that shows up in your ninth house of travel, religion, higher education, internal wisdom. But because your natal moon is 29 degrees, which essentially is the end before it hits 30, before it goes into Capricorn, it's like, what, I don't want to say what's wavering, but what audacious like ask, or what like bigger than life like process do you need to like just like jump in? You're not even like starting it.
mm,
You're just jumping full forces as though like you have everything prepared already.
hmm.
Like, what aspect of that it has either been is coming your way, or something that you're going to enact almost immediately. And so that would be, you may be feeling it now because you are a Sag moon.
Hmm.
So for you, it'll be laying right on your emotional body. Like, there, for some of us,
Mm.
it'll be something where it's like we can look away because like, it's not our moon, but it'll be probing you in a way that you won't be sleeping until you actually do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. That so for people that are listening, this reminds me of something that you told me in the Akashic Records reading that we just did. You suggested that I should, what was coming through was to apply to be a speaker for, I think it's called Web, is it Webmead? Web Media?
Web
Web
Summit.
Summit. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I,
yeah. That's audacious. That
yeah.
literally is. And the
Yeah.
thing of, but that even goes back to like, who's a better speaker at talking about what you know than you? Who's a better speaker of like really sharing your internal wisdom than you? You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
Like Sagittarius is the philosopher. It is like in Western astrology, it's earth. So it's everything. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? And
Mhm.
that's why a lot of times when you meet Sages, even when they're super short, they have like this very big presence, even if it's quiet. It's
Mhm.
like, why am I looking at you? Or like, why are you grabbing my attention? Like, what is this like weirdness? And it doesn't, it's not like charm. It's almost like this gravitational pull, that they're just like, that
Yeah.
they're in control in a way that you're like, this feels so weird. But use that to your advantage as a Sag moon in your third house. Like the way that you speak, the way that you communicate, Sages command rooms without necessarily trying,
Mhm. Mhm.
But because they learn that skill so early on, they do it so effortlessly. But other people who have never experienced Sages before, they'll be like, what is it about them? Like, they were just so funny. They were like the life of the party. They were this or that. They were dropping gems, blah, blah, blah. And people are just so enamored. They're just kind of like, what is that? This moon is really being like, all right, you say you have all these skills, you say you have all these talents, like you've been fostering this for how many decades now?
What are you
Talk
gonna
your
do with it?
shit.
Yeah.
Right. Like who are you waiting for? Who are you waiting for to give you permission to talk crazy?
Hmm.
That really is what it is. It's like
Yeah.
no one's ever gonna give you permission to lose your mind. You know what I mean? Why? So it really is like I think it's a very exciting time.
Yeah.
Um it's going to be a very daring opportunity, but it's also one of those things where it's like just know that as because just know that the way it looks for you is not the way it'll look for another person, and that's why it's so important for people to like
Mm.
to know their chart or to know where it's going to show up in their chart,
Hmm.
because if it were in another house or um, let's say a house, the fourth house, the house of home.
Hmm.
Who wants to have audacious conversations in home? A Sag is going to yell, so that means that there's potential for an argument. If it's not about like instilling more joy and excitement and adventure in the home, it
Hmm.
could be like you just being so fed up that it's like, oh, this is going to explode today. Like this,
Hmm.
I'm coming home and I am tearing that up. I am pissed, like and that is sometimes the uncomfortability of like having an emotional outburst when it
Yeah.
comes to like Sag. And
Okay.
so,
Okay. Would
yeah,
you say, so I do have a question about, because I've never understood it before. So the full moon in Sag is happening. My Sagittarius is in,
third house.
that's the third house.
Hmm.
And then, but it's impacting, is it impacting? So does it impact in different moons, impact different houses?
Yes. It's the moons. So yes, they impact different houses because you have they transit different parts of your chart. So when the moon is, let's say, when the moon will be in Cancer, it'll be impacting here, your house of career, your house
Okay.
of like legacy, the house of,
Okay.
um just everything that you're putting forth to the world, like your goals, like your achievements, more of like the things that are more structural, more like career focused,
Yeah.
more more of what you are building that you want to have longevity. And it would be different, let's say, also with, there's a moon in Taurus, the full moon in Taurus, that's 2 degrees. And so your eighth house is Taurus. So the eighth house is death and rebirth. It's sex, it's magic, it's the occult. So it's going to affect you different. Your focus in that, on that space, is going to be different. The intensity and sort of the question will be across the board, because it'll be a full moon in Taurus at 2 degree 45. So that's going to be the same for everyone.
Okay.
But because everyone's Taurus placement is going to be different, everyone's degree of Taurus is going to be different, everyone's, your Chiron's in Taurus, so you're very uncomfortable with money,
Hmm.
you're very uncomfortable with like spending it. It's not that you don't have it, it's more so of like, you're like, I don't want to spend it in the wrong place. Taurus in general does not think about money. They
Hmm.
are they are very much into materialism. So your Chiron being in Taurus is is very uncomfortable with like, with the idea, or doesn't understand the belief of, when I spend this, I'm spending it with the energy, I'm going to receive it back tenfold.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's something that the Chiron's almost asking you to release. So when the full moon hits that, being one, being a full moon in Taurus, two, being a Taurus degree, which is two, it's like, are those investments paying off, or are you dipping in the pot prematurely? It's like, you have to ask yourself that question. And for you, it could be something of like, those investments are absolutely paying off, but pushing you to start investing more,
Okay.
more in yourself, more in, what is it in your life that you want to end, and you want to build or create into something new. Like, what is it that you want to transmute about how you experience sex, how you experience working
Hmm.
with the magic, how you experience, the intimate side of yourself. And also with it being Taurus, Taurus is ruled by the sensual, more tangible version of Venus. So it being in the eighth house, it does feel comfortable, because the um the natal ruler of the eighth house is Scorpio, which is Taurin's polarity. And so your Taurus being in the eighth house is acting as the medicine for that Chiron. It's just that like, you kind of have to release that, like, that false imposter syndrome. It's like, you've worked through all of that. It doesn't exist anymore. It's like a crutch you can't hold on to anymore to really
Yeah.
get to where you need to be. And
Okay.
so, yeah.
Okay. So for people who want to learn more, do you suggest, like, is it a good idea to take a class just to get kind of the basics, or start by following the moon cycles and thinking about where they land when the moon's there in their chart?
Yeah, so I'm going to share this, or I would say, one, find someone that speaks the language of astrology in a manner that you understand. You
Okay.
know, what is ask yourself, what is that I actually want to get from astrology? What do I want to know more about?
Hmm.
And some people, they say, I want to know more about how to make money based off of my chart, or
Hmm.
how to find love based off my chart, or career, or you know mind body soul alignment. Finding the why behind what is drawing you to astrology, and then find someone who talks about that, someone who
Okay.
works with that. There are people who do astrology or work with astrology purely for sex workers, you know? And so it's like, find your astrological community or find your astrological teacher and go from there. And
Okay.
so I found, when I found mine, I think the first course was basically just, learning about your big three, your sun, moon, rising. And that was it.
Hmm.
And then I was like, oh, now that I understand that, but then I also saw, because it was a shared, a class, I also saw other people, how they showed up with their sun, moon, rising. And so as I learned about myself, I learned about other placements. And I was like, oh, that makes sense to me. And then it just grew. And
Mm.
so there were people who were more focused on love. And I will be honest, when I started, I had questions about love, about money, all these things. But I realized that that was too broad for me. I had to like really narrow it down, because love, money, career, all those things come from self-realization
Hmm.
for me. They may not come in that exact order, but because all those elements are a part of me realizing myself, they're going to naturally fall into place in the timing that they should fall into place.
Hmm.
And so really working with the moon, or just having some basic understanding of, this is what the moon that's happening, this is the date it's happening, and this is the question it's this is the question it's asking.
Yeah.
How does it show up in my chart?
Okay.
You know? And
Yeah.
so it does sound very complicated, but once you sort of just like have a basic understanding of the house system
Hmm.
and the 12 signs,
Hmm.
it'll I
It'll
know
start
math
to
isn't
click.
easy. Yeah, math isn't easy for everyone, but it'll make sense like math. Like one plus one is two, I
Yeah.
promise.
Yeah.
You know?
The thing that's encouraging to me is it feels like, and I think this is what has originally always drawn me, is it feels like the more that you know, the more that you know, the better you can handle things. So
Yeah.
like having the knowledge of going into this full moon in Sagittarius, that this is what I'm supposed to confront, or this is what I'm encouraged to confront,
Yeah.
then it'll give me more motivation to confront that thing, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and really like look at, is there something I'm ignoring? Is there something I'm putting off? And I'll
Yes.
not want to put it off, because I, and I also am encouraged too by I guess the more and more I hear about astrology, the more I realize how many people in business, from a business perspective, use it to guide their business decisions.
Totally.
And nobody talks about
Totally.
this. Like a lot of
Yes.
big companies are
The
doing this.
governments, yeah.
Yes.
I
Yeah. And
literally. And
yeah.
so I think it's crazy is that you have so many big names sort of saying astrology isn't real, but those same big names are using it to make bank.
Yes.
Literally, and I'm just kind of like, you know what? Whatever. You all can fall for this all you want to. Even
Yeah.
the same with Reiki now. A
Yeah.
lot of musicians are using Reiki in their music to
Hmm.
have you listen more. The
Hmm.
moment that you really tap into that, it's like,
Hmm.
am I am being used to
Yeah.
benefit other people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So that's also been part of my pool, is realizing, hey, anything that I feel like when there's a lie happening, I want to dig underneath the lie and learn
mhm.
more. So obviously there's something here that the general public could really learn more of how to use to their advantage, their own chart, their own
Yeah.
astrology. Yeah.
Yeah. I think one way, it's because sometimes, I do know people who are very interested, they want like a really deep dive, they want to learn everything very quickly. It is, if you try that, it'll be so overwhelming. And it's
Yeah.
going to, and I don't want anyone to feel as if I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Because truly astrology, out of all the modalities that I use, is it is the one that is most user friendly,
Okay.
just by understanding the pure basics, even like understanding the versions of Venus and Mercury that rule Gemini, Virgo versus Taurus Libra, you know what I mean? Or even looking at like, okay, so what is Mars in Greek mythology? Or what is Vulcan in Greek mythology? Like when you connect it back to historical things,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, so that is more of a practical understanding that I can digest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, or even like with Taurus being a bull, it's like, all right, when Taurus it gets temperamental, it's like a bull in a china shop. They're all linked to like all these different sayings that we use all the time,
Yeah.
but we don't really. But when you look at astrology, it's like that makes no sense to me. And I'm like, literally just start with go season by season. So the next season is we're in Gemini now, is Cancer season. What are the two moons during Cancer season? How can you prepare now?
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
like getting ahead of that so that you don't feel blindsided when the actual moon shows up.
Yeah.
And over time, you people will start realizing or being like, wow, I really felt this Cancer moon heavily as a Cancer rising and Cancer moon. Absolutely, you're gonna feel it. Like
Mm-hmm.
your entire being's gonna feel it, and you
Mm-hmm.
may feel it weeks before the moon actually shows
Mm-hmm.
up. So
Mm-hmm.
really knowing how to work with that energy for your
Yeah.
personal benefit
Yeah. It's
changes everything.
invaluable. Yeah.
Literally.
You're making me think about too, the other thing is that this connects me to is the more that I followed the moon cycle, the more it helps me to kind of emotionally detach when things are happening in my life. Like when
Yes.
certain people, like, and I can think of two instances in the last month where these people, one person I hadn't seen in a long time said something really off-putting and weird. And then this other
Mm,
person was triggered by something in me that I had nothing to do with. And I'm able to step back from that and say, wow, instead of feeling just personally attacked, let me look at what's happening right now with the energy and with my energy
yes.
and
Yes.
why is this happening? And so it really helps you to I guess work through those things and understand better what's happening with you, what's happening in your body, what's happening in your life, and what's
Yeah.
asking to be looked at. And I love that.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too. I think that, a lot of times we go into this very like sometimes self-absorbed place, forgetting that like if I have a chart, that means that like my partner and my children and my business people also have a chart. And so a moon for me that is phenomenal could be the worst thing for them. So
Hmm.
it's like let me just keep to myself. Let me speak when I really know it's time for me to speak. Let me do this in a fashion that I know is the best way to do it rather than, wanting to be intentionally chaotic or troublesome or be like my feelings are hurt or like my ego, my pride. It's like there's going to be lots of moments this year, especially that are very questions focused on home, your sacred space, um, but also your ego and your pride because
Hmm.
we and I want to mention this because even with all these moon transits there are other transits going to be happening as well. So like, the North Node will be shifting from Aquarius, from Pisces, Virgo to Aquarius, Leo. And so as summer comes, Aquarians are going to have like a very huge awakening with their moon as well. And so there are going to be so many things that are happening outside of the moon transit that are going to affect people. And so it really is going to be prime time for you to focus on you and how you want to show up in this world and not necessarily what you want to leave in this world, but if you're honest with yourself, who will you be remembered as? Like what is going to be your stamp or
Hmm.
your star on the what is that Walk of Fame or whatever Hollywood people have, And so yeah, so it's really important that actually something is coming to mind right now is an instance that happened where like during the Aries full moon where I was confronted with like, you have all these morals and values, and this is happening right now. Are you going to step up or are you going to step back? And
Hmm.
it's like, you know what? I'm going to step up. and whatever happens, happens. And that's very Aries energy of like, I won't throw the first punch, but if you get crazy, I'll instigate it enough that you do. So it's like that is, but then I saw how other people reacted to that, like, sort of like, I'm not going to back down.
Hmm.
I respect myself way too much. And if you want to act like a wild animal, I'm going to let you show your true colors. And so it's very interesting to almost see like, it is almost like a little battle of like
Hmm.
your your reflection can be triggering to another, and another's reflection can be triggering to you. And that
Hmm.
also is one of the confrontations of the moon. It A lot of things may be insular, but you have to exist in an outside world with other people. So you're
Hmm.
also going to be confronted with that moon energy on the in the outside world, you know.
Hmm.
So it's cool.
It
I mean,
is cool.
I love it.
Do you use your chart then for making decisions in your business too and think like
Oh,
when to start
absolutely.
things? Yeah, yeah.
All the time. Literally, I use I will say that I have learned the hard way. From a friend recently was telling me that she goes, and she also uses astrology, but she works in a different way with it. Um, and she was like, I always tell you before you go into any collaboration, Tilly, check where do they land in your chart. And I'm like, I thought it would be different. And she's like, she's like, that's the problem with you Libras, always, wanting peace and harmony. She's like, sometimes peace and harmony is saying no. And I'm like, I know. And so it's like, I use astrology literally for everything, even like when it comes to dating. Like, I don't date Libras. I've done it before. I've attempted it multiple times. I just, I know it enough to be like,
Yeah,
they can be good friends. They're not serious partners for you. They're
yeah,
just
yeah.
not, based on where they land in your chart. And so
That's a good idea for collaborations for me too, to think about that for the future, is to look at where they land
yeah,
in my chart. Yeah.
yeah. Because like some people will be like, oh, she will do all the work,
Hmm.
and they'll let you do all the work.
Hmm.
And there are others who will show up the way you show up, and you're like, this is perfect. Like this is
Yeah,
what I've been looking for, what I've been waiting for.
yeah.
So yeah.
So cool. The
Yeah.
last thing I feel called to ask you is, do you have an app or anything that you like that you recommend that's helpful to, or do you mostly stick to whatever you use
I
for this?
As in like the software I use.
Yeah,
Oh, so I purchased this one, but they Astro Gold has an app that you
Astro
can,
Gold. Okay.
yeah, it has an app, a phone app. And you can purchase add-ons, but the main feature is free.
Okay.
I also love to, when I'm on the go and I don't and I want like a chart that's really really fat, that's really quick, because I also don't like saving people's information unless they're a client.
Hmm.
And so AstroGold on your phone saves information. So I just will use something called astrocharts.com.
Okay.
It's such a beautiful layout, and I really like beautiful things and like charts to be pretty, because I think your chart is beautiful, and I really want that to be illuminated in like what the person receives. So
Hmm.
astrocharts.com is great. Um, I really like Cafe Astrology. It's so old, but it's one of the OG ones. So I love, they have tons of information, and I like using them because they have an افيرمist, which is basically it shows like all the transits of the entire, like, for multiple years. And
Wow.
so I'll be able to see when something goes direct or when it goes to retrograde, and it's like an easy way for me to see, like, okay, this on this full moon, this is where also the other placements are, and this is Pluto's retrograde in Aquarius, and this is happening, and like, oh, it's going to be kind of like these conversations are going to be conversations that have been happening for years, and it's like either we end it today or we just exist with this being a problem forever.
Hmm.
And so that also like that helps give more insight or like energy to how that moon's going to show up, or um, in the areas of life it's going to be more reactive.
Okay.
And um, I don't follow her, or I don't read her horoscopes, but I do really like that she Channy, I want to say
Oh,
Channy
Channy.
Nichols.
Yeah.
She has on her website, I think there's a page that has the Mercury retrogrades, the retrogrades. And I really appreciate that because that also gives you information about like the timeline of how you should be speaking, when you should like signing contracts, getting into new ventures, because not every new moon is about you starting a new venture. It
Yeah.
could be like you reviewing something from the past and being like, how can I really shift or make this habit or this business or this idea seem new? Like
Okay.
what can I change about it for it to bring about some sort of long lasting
Yeah.
newness, you know?
Okay. That makes sense.
So
Cool.
yeah, she's great.
Okay. Those are some great resources.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like this is a good place to pause. I don't feel
Yeah.
like I don't feel like this will be, I think we might have to do another episode at some point with you on the podcast
Okay.
about, the many different things that you brought up today. But this is an amazing place for people to start and just get to know you and a little bit about what you do and about astrology. That's definitely helped
Yeah.
me to sink my teeth in a bit more. And yeah, I'm looking forward to, I want to start to utilize it more in my life and in my
Yeah.
business. Yeah.
It is I think one of the things that like that gets me is I told a friend of mine who she's hosting a retreat in a couple of weeks that I'm facilitating a moon circle at. And I told her this. I was like, no one's going to believe astrocartography and astrology until a man starts speaking about it. And I
Mm.
think like 2 weeks later, she sent me a video of a man speaking about it. And she was like, look at how many followers he has. And she was like, you're right. And I was like, yeah, people don't, for some reason, people don't really trust a woman's voice when it comes to this.
Hmm.
But the real channels and facilitators and conduits that these energies feel the most safe traveling through are women, are
Hmm.
typically feminine energy. And I don't want to just say women, I want to
Hmm.
say feminine energy, individuals who are not afraid to tap into their feminine.
Hmm.
Because if you're existing in your feminine, at some point you had to live from your masculine too to protect yourself, you
Hmm.
know? And so yeah, I there's so much free information out there too, and it saddens me that now the conversations that are being had are that I see most of online is like, are you a spiritual healer? You should be a millionaire. And I'm just like, how did we get here? Like what is this? And so I want people to really tap into a divination for themselves, because at some point I can see this world being so discredited that like no one's going to believe in their own magic,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that is very dangerous.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being brave and speaking on the podcast, but not just this podcast, like in everything that you're doing, because you definitely
thank
have
you.
you're a fantastic channel for all this information that comes through you. Um, I love the way you deliver it, and I love what you're doing
Thank
with your
you.
business. Yeah.
Thank you. I truly appreciate that. I just want, yeah. And I will say one last message to everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the way that we pour into you, please pour into us. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
don't have us be your dirty little secret and you keep us behind closed doors.
Yes.
Like, really be proud of the work that you're doing with
Yeah.
yourself and how far you're going and what you're realizing about yourself. And that comes from like not being ashamed that you have to see us because
Hmm.
there is no shame in
Hmm.
like, I feel like it's very similar to like over 10 years ago when everyone was ashamed of like seeing a therapist,
Hmm.
But now everyone's like, my therapist says this and my
Hmm.
therapist says that. It's like owning that you are seeking guidance
Yeah.
is also owning your journey.
Yeah. That's so true.
So, yeah.
And it's kind of fun too. Was telling somebody the other day, like I get kind of a thrill out of shocking people. Like I do, like
Mhm.
I now I just take it as excitement. I'll stand up in
Yeah.
front of a room of real estate agents and talk about being psychic and intuitive. And all the time now it happens where afterwards people come up and they're like, "Hey, I do energy work too," or I like most of the time a lot of
Literally.
people, yeah, it happens all the time. And so it's empowering to share the real part of you, to share that part of you that, like you said, is going for guidance, self-realization, and utilizing the different tools. There's no shame in
Yeah.
that. It's very
None.
empowering. Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for taking so much time with us today and sharing
Of
so
course.
many awesome different topics. I think people are going to have a really, like a seriously good time listening to these couple of episodes.
Okay, great. I love that.
Well, if people want to learn more about you, they can just head to your website. Is there anything they can do to listen to you more regularly or?
Yeah, so I have a podcast. I post it based on when the moon cycles call me to, but
Okay.
I have 4 seasons of episodes that like offer there's Reiki, there are messages from the Akashic records, there are power songs, there are shamanic journeys. So
Wow.
there's everything that like there's at least 2 episodes for every moon cycle, I believe.
Okay.
So even with the full moon in Sag coming up, you can go back to a full moon in Sag episode, and you know the energy is still active. It's open to those who are open and willing to receive it. And so, yeah, weekly connection. It's on Apple for sure, and I believe on
Okay.
Spotify. But also on my website, there's a page for podcasts where they can click on different episodes and listen there.
Cool. And to stay up
Yeah.
to date on classes and things that you're offering, do they just check your
Yeah.
website?
Yeah, on my
Okay.
website,
Okay.
there are courses, there's retreats, and also when you click, there are a couple more things. I do have a few courses that's one is just on Saturn, understanding your karma of your chart. Another one is Jupiter moving into Leo, which is essentially it's a 1 year cycle that will affect the next 12 years of your life. So I do have a course on that that's coming, or a class on that to sort of like understand
Mm.
your chart and how you can actually use that energy for your own like benefit based off of where Leo for you. Let me see.
I know my North Node's in Leo.
Mm, it is. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, girl. It is time to really like take advantage of the audience that you have, like
Okay.
truly, because the 11th house is it's your friends, it's your chosen groups, it's social issues, it's innovation, technology, it's like your interests, communities, clubs, groups. Yeah, take advantage of that. It's going to be big. And a lot of
Okay.
like again, that kind of makes sense too. I think you mentioned one of your, like your ancestors coming through your Akashic
Yes.
records. So
And they
that
said
is,
they wanted me to utilize them more.
you're not,
Yeah. Yeah.
listen, there you go.
Yeah.
So
I'm down for it.
yeah.
I've already been talking to him more since we met this week. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Well, thank
So
you so much. I'm super excited for these
absolutely.
to come out for everybody. And yeah, I just really appreciate your time and your energy.
Thank you. You too.